Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody who might get something out of it. Guys, happy Friday. If you guys been following me regularly, you know Friday is my day for my weekly home group, my AA meeting that I go to at Fridays at noon. And what a great meeting. A little backstory: I was super busy this week. My business is really picking up, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I'm getting entrusted with a lot of bigger jobs, and I've really had to work on my time management. So this morning, I was over in Roxbury at a building we sold 7 condos in, and there were a couple of issues going on, and one of them was a little involved, and I was able to get it to the point where the water was back on, and they could use everything in their apartment, but I wasn't going to make my meeting if I stayed to put everything back together. So I let them know. I said, listen, there's something I got to go do. The water's back on. You're up and running. And I'll be back about 1:30. He had no problem with that. It was perfectly fine, and I boogied off, and I went to my meeting. And all morning I was debating. I'm like, am I going to make my meeting today? And I'm like, you know what? It was a shit show of a morning. It was one problem after another. And it was somebody else's mistakes, and I'm fixing. So it wasn't like it was on my shoulders. But at the same time, I'm there doing it. And in the past, this is where I would normally get really overwhelmed. And I just took a step back and said, listen, let's approach this logically. I end up ripping one system completely out and doing what the customer was much happier with, saving him a bunch of money, saving me a bunch of time. Got the water back up and running. Made it to my meeting. Had a fantastic meeting. Sitting amongst a bunch of people like myself, going through similar things like myself, and coming up with similar solutions, and seeing just where different people are and the different takes they have in the readings is just something that I really enjoy. It centers me, it grounds me, it keeps what's important to me at the forefront, and I'm building. I'm becoming part of a community. Not that I'm building it, but I'm becoming part of a community. I'm just getting to get some really good friends out of there. Anybody from the group, what's up, everybody? Love you all. And it was just about making good decisions. And I'll tell you what, when things are frustrated, when you're getting frustrated, it's good to step away. Leaving to go to my meeting, coming back, when I got back to the job site, I ended up having a couple of better ideas, got some clarity in the situation, and I finished it within a half hour of getting back, where I probably would have sat there and struggled for an hour and a half had I not left. So again, when you put yourself first in the proper ways, responsible ways, things tend to go better for you. Guys, the title for today is, I'm taking this as like half of the just for today and half of just from what I got out of my group today. The title is Over Time, Not Overnight. We rebuild our lives over time, not overnight. We found that we do not recover physically, mentally, or spiritually overnight. At times we may feel like we should be further along in our recovery than we currently are. We may have someone else, we may encounter someone else with less time, with sober time than us, who seems to be further along. It is odd that we should come into recovery thinking that we will feel wonderful right away, or no longer have difficulty handling life's twists and turns. We expect our physical problems to correct themselves, our thinking to become rational, and a fully developed spiritual life to manifest itself overnight. We forget that we spent many years abusing our bodies, numbing our minds, and suppressing our awareness of a higher power. We cannot undo the damage in a day. We can, however, apply these spiritual principles every day, do our best for this day, help somebody else out along the way. We heal and recover bit by bit, day by day, not overnight, but over time. And the affirmation is, just for today, my body will heal a little, my mind will become a little clearer, and my relationship with my higher power will strengthen. Just for today. Guys, it's absolutely true. And here's the thing, when you continue, it's where that whole compounding thing I talk about comes into. When you continue coming at it every day, and if you just abstain, your life will get better. No question about it, right? You're no longer poisoning yourself on a daily basis. But the more effort you put in, if you do one small thing to step up each day, something, we look at, be introspective. At the end of the day, take an inventory of what you did, how you felt, how you talked to yourself, where you fell short, and where you felt like you made progress. And then pray and meditate, guys. It's so important. And again, whatever your form of prayer and meditation may look like, but find what works for you. It's so important. Self-care, guys. It's not selfish. It's so incredibly important. If you want to make your life better, you got to be intentional about being better, feeling better, making better decisions. And it all starts with how you look at yourself and how you talk to yourselves, and the actions that you take determine how you feel about yourself. So you want to do things that you could feel better about. So get out of your own way, turn things over, physically get down on your knees, whatever prayer looks like for you. For me, I get down on my knees, I pray to God, who I consider my higher power, whatever you choose yours. I'm not boxing anybody out. And though I was raised a Christian and I'm considered a Christian, guys, I'm not going to sit there. And here's something I want to bring up, actually. I've talked about this a few times. When we sit there as a Christian, or as a Jew, or as a Muslim, or as or as a Hindu, or as a Buddhist, and feel that our way is the only way, that is a direct disconnect from source. I don't know. Now, these are all history lessons, they're all stories, okay? But one thing I will say is a little bit of truth in all of them, and it's the similarities between them all that is what's correct. Anybody that is sitting there saying that their God is telling them to kill somebody else is absolutely not listening to their God. I don't know who they are listening to, but it's not coming from their source. It's not coming from God. God is love. I don't care what you call yours, but God is love, and He's here to love all of us, not tell us, any one of us. Those are all human constructs, guys, and be careful following them. You always want to take everything with a grain of salt. But every one of us has that internal guidance system that tells us when we feel good about what we're doing, when we feel bad about what we're doing. And if we, unless you're a complete narcissistic psychopath, we may have learned to overlook those things and override those things. But if you get introspective and you get spiritual and you develop a relationship with your higher power, that will come back to you. That inner guidance system, guys. And something like I said, I've talked about it many times. I was extremely lost. I had no ideas. I had no moral value whatsoever. There was nothing of value to my life. And that was something that I was well aware of at the end of my run. So I prayed on that. I asked God to let me walk in His light and to show me His path for me. And look where I am, guys. Just over 7 months later, I'm running a spiritual channel on YouTube. If you told me I'd be doing this, I would have just not believed it was physically possible. Owning my business, taking courses online at Harvard, going to my home group, being a productive member in not a founding member, but one of the they call me one of the OGs of the group, one of the regular members that people look up to. And that's beautiful, guys. Like, I didn't think. Oh, actually, I know I couldn't by myself get to where I've gotten to. And again, I'm not sitting there saying I don't have a long way to go, because I do. I'm very early. I'm still in early recovery, but I'm building things faster than most. And I'm looked up to, and I'm looked upon as an example of what can go right today, because that's what I've asked for, and that's what I focused on. And then I've gone to great lengths to take action in those directions, guys. I have not sat here and white-knuckled and waited for anything to come to me. I've sat here and got introspective and looked at every area of my life that needed something that wasn't right, that wasn't fulfilling me, and it was holding me back, and I've directly reached out and asked for help. I'm not sitting there saying that I'm some miracle but did it all myself or God zapped me, but God put people in my way because I asked Him. God, I can't do this again. I need help. I know my way doesn't work. Please show me what needs to be done. Then immediately thereafter, I have a counselor tell me, listen, we're going to offer you an IOP. Would you like to work with a therapist? Well, we can get you medically assisted treatment. We can get you over here at the OBAC clinic. We can get you into Riverside Recovery, literally a half a mile up the street from my house. Because I've asked for help in the areas that I knew I needed help, I've gotten that help, guys. And then I haven't waited for anybody to do the work for me. I've stepped up and tried to carry that to somebody else or incorporate that into my life literally throughout my day. And again, every time I catch myself slipping, I openly and honestly admit that was a slip, and typically I catch it before it gets very far now, but literally I'll be halfway through a conversation and say, whoa, Jesus, whoa, I wasn't paying attention. That's my old behavior. I can't do that. I can't say that. I can't feel that way. This is how I look. And guys, it's changed the person that I am. Like, I'll notice old behaviors, starting to come through, and not only do I arrest those behaviors immediately today, but then I stop and I think about them, and then I think about how I want to look at that situation and what the right, proper way in God's eyes for me to look at that situation, and I approach it from there. Like, that's huge, huge, huge differences. And the difference it's making is unbelievable in my life. I'm being offered opportunities at a crazy, incredible rate. Guys, I'm stepping into this new chapter, and it's like I have no idea what's going to come next, but I know it's going to be beautiful. I know for a fact it's going to be beautiful because I'm doing everything right. And again, not perfectly, but I'm doing everything to the best of my ability. And when I catch myself slipping, I rectify it and get back on track. I start my day in prayer. I won't look at my phone. I won't answer anybody before I get up and drop to my knees and say my spread of prayers. And it just centers me for my day. Then I get up and go about my day and start things. But I don't go running out the door to put fires out because I understand nothing is more important in this world to me than me. So I've got to put myself first. And if I let anybody else get between me and what I need, then that's on me, and they're just going to continue to take advantage because I'm giving them that opportunity. I used to sit there and say, oh, everybody's taking advantage. No, I allowed it. I offered advantage to everybody else. Nobody can take anything from you that you don't freely give to them unless they're outright oppressing you, and that can happen. I understand that. But generally speaking, guys, you're always going to get that one person in the back of the room who wants to just argue everything to death. And we'll talk about that for a second. 11:11. There was somebody at my meeting today that was talking, and again, I listen to everybody share, and I never interject, but it's funny, he's a good kid, but he's having a hard time, and just last week, he was talking about how he's getting accolades from the judge, and I'm like, good for you, you're doing right. Well, now he's talking about how the halfway house he's in, they want to set him down in front of the group meeting. Now, I've been to this halfway house, they're actually really good guys. I guess his PO's on him, his court system's on him, the house is on him, they want him to find a job. Well, I've been to that house. It's a working house. You know that coming in. He works for the union. He wants a high-paying union job, and you can't necessarily do that. He's not willing to do what he considers to be below him. In other words, he's trying to write his own ticket. His ego is dictating what he will and won't do, and yet here he is saying, oh, well, this is the problem. They're mad at me for this. They're coming down on me in this. Oh, I'm taking too many meds. I'm nodding out. If you're nodding out in a halfway house, you're taking too many meds. As simple as that. I'm sorry. I don't care whether it's prescribed to you or not. If they're causing you to nod out and not be able to get a job, and you're not on disability, then you're over prescribing. You're taking more meds than you need to be taking. It's simple as that. Like, let's look at the honest. My point being, guys, and we try to talk to him and not hurt his ego or make him feel singled out, but until you get it and see those things, when you come from that egotistical point of view, and then you wonder why everything is stacked against you. Guys, if things aren't going well, it's not because everybody's out to get you. It's because something you're doing is clashing with where you're at and what you need to be doing. And that's something I learned very early on, because everything I did clashed with everything I was trying to do, and that's why I never got anywhere. And this time around, I surrendered. I turned my will over to my higher power, whom I choose to call God. And lo and behold, suddenly everything is going amazingly well in my life. I get accolades from everybody on a constant basis. I finished the job yesterday, and I paid myself decent for the job. And I was a little concerned because new customer. I said, well, what's going to happen? And I felt a little guilty because I didn't get the thing I'm used to, cutting my throat and getting a huge tip on top of it. And technically, the guy actually did give me an $80 tip. But I thought maybe it was a mistake overpaying, and I was thinking he's not going to use me for the next job. He called me 2 hours later, asked me if I could come to the next project and do the same thing over again. Then he called me this morning. The staging people, who's selling the house, people staging furniture, dinged the ceiling, wants me to come back and fix that. Like, I got to have more faith in myself. And I know I'm not charging more than anybody else would charge. I'm charging less. But people are used to taking full advantage of me. And I got to understand that I have more value. And again, guys, I spent 3 hours there. I charged $600. I felt like it's more than I'm used to what I'm making. But guys, I'm doing better work and faster work, and I'm doing more work in the time that I'm there. And it was a more than fair price, and he was more than happy to pay it, and he actually overpaid me. And yet here I was feeling guilty about it. That's an issue I'm continuing to work on. But because I acknowledge it and I talk about it when it comes up again, I stop and I do my math twice and say, okay, is this price within the fair realm? And then I look and say, geez, you know what? I think I'm a little still on the low side, so I add a little more to it. And so far, I'm getting more and more work, and I'm getting paid more and more money, and it's giving me opportunities to be able to do more and more things in life. And I'm expanding in every which way, shape, or form, and it's beautiful because I'm not trying to get over on anybody. I'm open, honest, upfront. I do good work, and I give fantastic service. And that's the biggest thing, guys. People love service. They want to be taken care of, and they want to know you're not going to take advantage. I don't take advantage of anybody. But I've got the only person being taken advantage is me taking advantage of myself and not giving myself enough. And like I said, little by little, I've been giving myself more and more and more credit. Now I'm starting to see my potential and see my worth, and I'm starting to charge accordingly. And I'm gaining customers, not losing customers, and I'm making way more money than I've ever thought possible. Life is good today, guys, because I've been working at it. But again, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. When I first got out of rehab back in January, I quit my job. It wasn't until probably close to the end of February that I started the business. But I was just, doing, literally up until that point, I have like the money I needed for the day in my pocket, and I was grateful and happy to have that. I was a good steward of those resources, so I was given more. And I was a good steward with those resources, so I've been given more. And I was a good steward, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. But it didn't happen overnight. It's happened over time. Guys, when I first started doing these videos, I'd look at myself in the video, and I still had that growth under my eye, and I was horrified. My eyes were still really sunken in. But I knew that things were going to get better. And if you actually watch my first or second videos, I flat out called it out and said, guys, I know I look rough, and I don't want to be on here. I had no teeth in my mouth. I was super embarrassed, lisped and everything else. But I said, I'm doing this because this is the download that God gave me. Get on here and show the progression of what's possible. Because 6 months from now, you will not be recognizable. And I trusted fully that I wouldn't be. And if you go back and look at my first video to now, it's hard to believe that it's the same person later, not 10 years earlier. And I'm honored to be this person today. And again, it's just the beginning. Things are only getting better. But it gets better over time, not overnight. That's the lesson for today, guys. Happy Friday. Guys, always remember, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. I couldn't do this without you guys. It'd be pretty pointless, but I love each and every one of you, and I really, truly appreciate you. Guys, be blessed. Be safe. God loves you. I love you. See you tomorrow.